It's a time for pick it from China. So when it comes to devices, Anbernic is maybe the king of releases, with a brand new flagship device, meaning that we have like absolutely crazy amount of power inside of this tiny little thing. So we do have two different colors and all two different, let's say, flavors, and we do have today the 12GB with 256GB of storage capacity. So comfortable wise, I think the metal shell can have like a little bit of a negative impact on this. Because when it comes to like the metal shell, it does feel really premium and I think it's absolutely a cool gimmick. However, if you're going to be looking at the older models, they were like tinier and I wouldn't say more comfortable, but because of the weight, it was still, let's say, playable and enjoyable. And I've noticed by actually playing with this thing for quite a long while, I must say that it's not going to be like really comfortable. I've seen all kinds of Powkiddy, other brands, also say Emulation having better overall form factors. I don't understand why they went for this option, because you know, form factor, convenient, I think it's like more important than having a metal shell. The positive side about the metal shell is actually if you're having this thing set to passive mode, or at least the weird thing I've noticed that when it comes to this device, it was automatically set to like off of the fan. Not a good thing. I'll show you later what I mean. But with a 355 grams, when this thing weighs, is absolutely a beefy boy. But the size, the metal shell, I don't know. It's not going to be like one of my favorite devices to play. I personally really have like an RG477m or a 557 because they're like bigger, but they are more comfortable to play in the long term. So when it comes to the volume and the on and off switch, they give it a little bit of a depth, so it's not easy to accidentally like press it or so. So that's one of the many things that they improved in this model. The improvement of the shoulder button I've seen a long time ago already has also been implemented in this metal version. So if you're going to be holding it like this, I can tell you that these, let's say, shoulder buttons are super easy to press with a micro switch click. And let's do a quick, let's say, in-depth overview of these things. And you can see there's a very nice, let's say, height difference between them. And that is one of the things that have been improving over the years. And this is just absolutely great. Over here we're finding the outtake fan, and at the bottom we're finding the intake fan. And if you're going to be putting it automatically and this thing starts spinning, it will make a noise. At the back we'll find the two pieces of plastic, and this is not for giving any grip on your table if you're going to be putting it flat surface, but this has to do because the intake fan still needs a little bit of space. I don't know if it's going to be great idea. You can actually see it slides like crazy. It's like an air hockey puck, but the point is actually this is just giving this, let's say, intake fan a little bit breathing room, but I wouldn't really recommend doing that if you're going to be putting it flat on the table. Still, there is not a lot of space between it. However, we're having USB-C over here, audio jack, and a micro SD card. And over here we're going to be having two speakers, and they sound okay. The stereo effect is spot on when it comes to playing an emulation, but when it comes to, let's say, ergonomics, that is going to be another story. So the form factor I mentioned, I'm not the biggest fan of this, and we can have like a minor improvement with the case that comes with it, by the way. If you're going to be deep diving into your package from China, you're going to be finding this bumper. It also comes with some cleaning cloth and the cable, and of course a screen protector. But the bumper is something of an interesting story, because even this thing is not like the most ergonomic thing going on. Oh, wait, other way around. So I must say that clicking this thing in is super easy, but oh man, the ergonomics is even so much better. I mean, it's a little bit bigger now, but also when it comes to like reaching in the shoulder buttons, it's absolutely an improvement. So this is a bumper I'm going to be really loving. Of course, it should like went for like a little bit, let's say, of a bigger bumper model thingy, but you know, yeah, this is an improvement. So I'm very glad they implemented this into the kit. However, throughout the video, I'm actually using this without the bumper, and yeah, that was not a good choice. I wish I did actually that earlier. However, and if you're going to be looking at the design of everything, like the joystick, they're having Hall effect joysticks now, and yeah, there's like one of the biggest improvements you're getting with this particular product now. And of course, the RGB function is also very cool. So when booting up the system, we have this rainbow RGB going on, and due of not the translucent shell, I must say that this looks absolutely amazing. Going into the software, you can actually change out a lot of things in the device. The first thing, by the way, you always check if the fans is put to automatic. Somehow it has been set to none. But in here we're finding all of the information. If you want to check the joysticks and collaborate them, you can do a lot of cool things inside of the software itself. So that is a very extended situation, but also when it comes to the colors, how you want to change the brightness, you can all change it out inside of the software. So when it comes to that, it's great. D-pad wise, I must say that it's not like the best D-pad out there, but again, for a price range of this, you would expect the best, let's say, ultimate D-pad satisfaction situation. But it's quite well, and I must say that it plays quite nice. So with the D-pad, for me it's going to be one of the most important elements when it comes to the device like this. So, but how is actually the overall movement configuration? I do need to get used to the overall, let's say, configuration with the D-pad, the travel and everything, but when I'm getting the handling of it, I must say that I am quite surprised how good it actually is. It's not like the best D-pad out there, but I must say that when it comes to playability, this is absolutely great. However, you're going to be playing with the analog stick, of course, this is going to be way better than like normal, like cheap devices. But yeah, this is one of those things. I must say that I am quite surprised of the overall, let's say, performance of the D-pad, but also when it comes to the analog sticks itself. But let's move into some Minecraft if you're just going to be utilizing both of the joysticks. And yeah, I can tell you that I'm really satisfied of the reaction and just the overall travel of the joystick. And if you just want to play some games like Minecraft, this device is powerful enough, but also when it comes to the joystick, it's very comfortable. Of course, again, the shell itself is not the most comfortable device out there, but it's enjoyable when it comes for playing some old school Minecraft. They went for, let's say, the ABXY buttons to have like a tiny button, a little bit of the first early Nintendo Switch. So you can actually see they have a little bit of wiggle to it, but not too much, and a very nice, satisfying travel. But I'm not the biggest fan of it. Just going to be honest, I don't like these things when it comes to these tiny buttons. So having over here, so like I said, our micro switch, and at the side we're having over here the retro shortcut for the front end, for the emulators, and then of course the home button. Then we're going to be utilizing a lot. But it absolutely improved the overall Android experience with the back button. I can still remember that first like Samsung like tablets. Later on they removed it. I really hated it. Holding the Anbernic button for a couple of seconds will give you the front end. And overall, let's say, emulation things you can do with it. Thanks to the powerful chip that we have now on the inside, we do have the option to actually play all kinds of different systems that couldn't be played or had like a lot of struggles with the cheaper devices. But of course we're going to be paying premium price for this particular product, and yeah, you can expect some really nice specifications with this. About the specifications, let's chit chat about that, because it comes with a 4.7 inch LTPS display with a resolution of 1280 by 960, having Android 14 with all of the capabilities like Wi-Fi and etc. So when it comes to the battery, 5300 milliamp, giving you around like 7 hours of time. We can like maximum charge it with 27 watts, and the Dynasty 8300 processor that will give us some amazing overall performance. So to begin with, if you're going to be playing some arcade games, you don't have any problems there. Also when it comes to playing some autonomous wave, I don't notice any, let's say, problems on native resolution. But the screen itself is absolutely looking amazing, combining this with the right games, having a Giga Wing number 2, and if you're going to be playing this through the arcade emulator, this runs perfectly without any stuttering. Of course, we can also do a little bit of upscaling if the emulator gives you the option for it, but for native resolution, I think it just looks fine on these devices. But if you just want to play some old school games, is it actually worth buying such an expensive device? If you just want to play some old school Mortal Kombat on arcade and you don't really care about the 4.7 inches of display, I think this is going to be a complete waste of money, because where this thing actually runs Mortal Kombat 1, 2, 3, Ultimate, whatever, it runs all flawlessly. Still have like a little bit of I think a Killer Instinct that is going to be really challenging, and maybe some Tekken MAME, but I think you can just play these games or like other devices for like $50 or so. Depending on what emulator you're going to be running, out of the box it will run to the Dreamcast through RetroArch, but if you're going to be installing some Redream, you can even do a little bit of an upscaling, but you need to purchase the emulator through the Play Store itself. And the overall performance of Undead Alive 2 and others, the ones I've always loved to test, they run just perfectly, and they look absolutely amazing on a device like this. But PlayStation 2 would be one of the reasons why you're going to be spending so much money on a device like this. Emulation has become significantly improving over the years on these, let's say, flagship devices to a point that we can actually play this game and just enjoy them on full speed. And then again, if you just want to play a PlayStation 1 game, you can just do that on a gazillion handhelds now for under $50. But if you want to play PlayStation 2 and still want to have like an overall great experience, and yeah, this thing comes with rumble motors, so everything is going to be working as it is. Of course, we don't have the sensitive button input that we have as the original controllers. That is one of the concessions that we're going to be making. But when it comes to the overall performance, I think this is going to be a really enjoyable overall experience. Another system that's going to be running awesome on this is just the GameCube. So we have all kinds of GameCube emulator possibilities, but when it comes to, let's say, the high-end flagships, I think that is one of the appealing parts to it. So besides PlayStation 2 era, also the GameCube is one of those cool things you can actually play on here. So I did notice like it's going to be, sometimes you're going to be a little bit of tweaking. They're running out of the box of the MMJR emulator from Dolphin. So this can be a little bit of a situation that we're going to be switching between emulators to see which game will run the best on what. And of course on native resolution, I think we're going to be having a lot of fun. Through the same emulator, we do have the option to actually play Wii games, and I think that's kind of cool because there are a lot of cool games on there like Rhythm Paradise. The only weird thing I've noticed, if you're going to be messing with like the Dolphin emulator and you're getting into the Wii games, yeah, some of the controls are completely messed up with Sonic the Hedgehog 4, so that was quite unfortunate actually. So we're going to be using the up and down button for actually playing that game. I can tell you, it's a kind of interesting, let's say, experience, because I've been playing this game for a long time now, and playing it like that, of course, you can fix it if you want to, but out of the box, I just wanted to see what happens, and there are a lot of things that you still need to tweak, and that is one of the things when it comes to the Android part. However, let's move to the Wii U. So the Wii U part, I think that's even also an interesting story. So somehow, out of the box, I always had like this similar like Wipeout clone game that I really love to play. The unfortunate is that the speed itself of the overall emulation is great, but still have a lot of glitches, and I'm guessing this has to do with the emulator or maybe the compatibility. So I don't want to say too much negativity about the overall gameplay itself, but I find it interesting to see that we can actually play Wii U, but yeah, let's be honest, Wii U didn't have like a lot of great games on here that we can actually play like this, but still, it's fun that actually can be played on the device like this, but I rather to see some PlayStation 3 emulation than actually having some Wii U, but that's my opinion. So moving on to another emulator that was quite difficult to emulate, and that's going to be the Sega Saturn platform with the Yaba Shenjiro 2 emulator. And I can tell you that the first impression is that, yeah, we do have like this massive black bar at the bottom that has to do with the resolution. So that's one of the many things that we're going to be needing to fix. And I think that is one of the, let's say, tinkering situation you're getting with even with such an expensive device. So if you want to have something that out of the box works perfectly, I think there's still a lot of improvement there. However, the emulation performance of Sega Saturn is really enjoyable. With the PlayStation Portable, I had some interesting things going on. I just wanted to check it out, 1080p upscaling to see what is going on, can we actually handle this? But with Wipeout, I had a lot of stuttering and I couldn't get to the full speed. So I just started tinkering with this device. Okay, so let's see what's going on over here. So let's put this thing on 3 times, just see. And I was just messing around with it. Maybe I can do a deep dive into the software to see what kind of setting is actually implemented that gives a little bit of, let's say, a problematic situation over here. So it has been set to Vulkan. Maybe I can mess around with that. But I was just messing and see what's going on. We do have, like, by the way, these 2 massive black bars. So again, like, there's something you're going to be seeing with also with Android games. So this display is, in my opinion, not perfect for playing PlayStation Portable games. We can do upscaling, that is possible. And yeah, the performance is really enjoyable and PlayStation Portable looks absolutely amazing on this. However, yeah, PlayStation Portable is one of those devices that can be emulated now on maybe cheaper devices out there. So I would say take consideration that if you want to get PlayStation Portable going on, maybe this is not the right handheld for actually playing and upscaling and messing around with. Well, one of the cool things is with Android we can install all kinds of cool games from the Play Store. And I think that is one of the features I just love about it. Yep, you can actually buy yourself the Turtle game and you can even download yourself a free demo. And if you're going to be messing around with it, I think it's like $8 if you're going to be buying through the store. I think previous videos I needed to have like a Netflix account. I'm happy that they went away from that because I really hated it to have like a Netflix account to actually play this freaking game. But now you can just enjoy it. You can just download the demo and just enjoy yourself or buy and unlock the full game. But beside that, like $8 I think is absolutely worth it to have this on your Android device. But now quickly I do remember that I hate those like tiny X, A, B, Y buttons because, you know, this is not like the most horrible situation and it's like not super inconvenient. It's still, you know, I am a big fan of like having big buttons. Think about like the Mega Drive 1 controller. I love these like massive buttons and they're just so much more convenient to actually play these games. Out of the box, you can see that every single game I've played now so far, when it comes to Turtles and the Street Race 4, we do have these, actually not black bars, but actually these artwork at the bottom and the top. Because these things were made for 16:9 resolution monitors. And yeah, it's a little bit of a downside. You can see that this thing is great for playing these games. By the way, the fan spins like crazy. So it really, let's say, give this thing and run for its money when it comes to the performance. So with the higher price point, we do get some really cool premium features. Gyro sensor, rumble, nice Hall effect joysticks. But if you just want to play retro games, I think sometimes like a $50, $100 device can do just fine for you. I think this is if you're going to be love to tinker, you just want to have like some really cool performance with PlayStation Portable, GameCube, then this can be a product that you can consider. But if you don't want all of the fancy things, there are a lot of great options out there nowadays that can do just fine. Thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comments what do you think of these high flag, superb, let's say, devices. Do you think it's worth it? And it would be great to see you in the next video.